So this is my new horse. He doesn't have a name yet, but he's a wild, like seriously, finger quotes, wild, almost 5-year-old paint stud that I brought home Sunday night. I got this halter on him in the trailer the night before. Took an hour to unload him, by the way, super fun. But he hasn't been handled, much less haltered and led, since he was a yearling. And like I said, he's 5. I'm taking it really slow here, just trying to get him used to feeling the halter on, because I know he doesn't like the pressure. You'll see more of that in the video, but eventually I get my rope clipped on, and we're gonna see what he remembers. He's kind of giving me crazy eyes here, but as soon as I start petting him, you can tell he likes it. So here we go, Mr. Man's first experience with leading in 3 or 4 years. You can see he doesn't totally understand the straightforward pressure, but if I ask him to turn to the side, he's a little more understanding. He's resisting a little bit here. Obviously he has no idea what's going on, but as soon as he gives, I release the pressure from the lead rope and I try to reward him, even though he doesn't quite understand that petting is rewards yet. And I just stay with him when he fidgets, and eventually, once he calms down, he gets a break. That's the goal. This time when I ask, there's pretty much no fuss at all, which is awesome. I'm already way ahead of schedule with this guy. I didn't even think I'd get a halter on him this week, and to be leading him around the pasture is amazing. Based on what I heard from the old owner, I was really expecting him to be a total terror, but he actually seems really friendly and to remember what he learned when he was a baby. And look at that, we're getting some forward steps. He's still a little, just a little bit reactive, and we have to take it really slow, but this is serious progress from like 30 seconds ago. He kind of wants to walk directly behind me, which is not good because it kind of puts me in a position to get run over, but he's starting to figure out how to just follow the pressure from the halter. I'm taking lots of breaks here, making sure we practice our woes and not just our goes. And look at him like leaning into the pets there, that was so cute. From this angle you can see just how badly he needs his feet done. Like actually it is terrible. But as you'll see later in the video, he doesn't super remember how to pick up his feet, which he also hasn't done since he was a yearling. He needs some more training and practice before I can get his feet done, but I already have a vet appointment for him to get shots in Coggins next week. He's also going to get gelded, but that'll have to wait until it's warmer out. But there's no reason to keep this horse a stud. We're starting to do some longer stretches of walking in between breaks, and he's not quite so sensitive to feeling the halter anymore, which is good. He also really is digging those pets. I feel so bad for him, having basically no affection for the past whatever amount of years. Before I got him, he was kept in a pretty small pen by himself. So even though he's in the smallest pen I have at my house, he's been in heaven getting to run and play. I can't believe how quickly he's gone from shy to cuddly. He's like super sweet. I never would have guessed he'd be this sweet. Thanks to the wind, you can't really hear me giving any voice cues, but I'm telling him good boy and clucking at him just like I would with a horse that already knew what he was doing. He's getting pretty good at following me, so now I'm going to ask him for something a little more difficult. Backing up. After I reward him for standing nicely for such a long time, I'm going to start slightly applying backwards pressure on the halter. He doesn't really like that very much, but I just hold steady, and then eventually he goes forward and onto the patch of ice and I have to change my approach. So we're gonna get off the ice as quick as we can, bad situation, very bad. And then once I get him stopped, get him settled down, praise him again, I'm gonna ask him a second time. When he doesn't really respond to pressure from the nose band, you can see I start adding a little bit with the end of my lead rope. I'm not hitting him, really just brushing it against his chest to give him a better idea of where he's supposed to go. And then as soon as he takes one step back, even though it's really messy, I release all the pressure. I'm almost ready to turn him out now, so we're going to put a different halter on. When I had him in the trailer and I had the opportunity to put a halter on him, all I had was a rope halter. But normally I wouldn't have a horse turned out with a rope halter just because if it got stuck on something it wouldn't break. This new halter has a leather breakaway strap, so if he gets his head caught on something, it'll snap off before he can hurt himself. He's definitely not comfortable with the haltering process yet, which is why he has to wear a halter even when he's turned out. I feel kind of dumb here because I could not see that I hadn't gotten his ear in there, so the whole time I was just like, gosh, I wonder why he's so fidgety, not realizing I hadn't even put my halter on correctly, and I call myself a trainer. It's annoying that he's moving around so much, but I'm not going to scold him or anything because this is the first time in probably ever he's had something like this happen to him. I'm just going to be patient and stay with him as he moves. going to give him a little bit of time to stand still, and then once he seems pretty solid, I'm going to finish buckling his halter. Still not knowing that his ear isn't in the the crown piece. He's being really good and letting me fiddle with everything. Then next, I have to get the old halter off, which is going to be a little more difficult, I think. He looks kind of annoyed with me, and I don't really blame him. The knot in the rope halter got kind of tight from all the fidgeting around and leaning on me he did while we were training, so it's kind of taken me a while to get it untied. I could probably have gotten it done faster, but I wasn't about to take my gloves off because it was freaking cold. I think he's being a really good sport about this, all the different things touching his head and such. You can see he kind of raises his head, showing me he's not happy, but he doesn't move his feet, which I'm really happy with. Pulling the rope halter out is arguably the hardest part, but once again, this guy is a trooper. And no, somehow I still haven't noticed that my halter is only halfway on. He's such a good boy. Before I turn him out, I'm going to let him eat his grain and work on grooming, which I can only imagine how long it's been since he was groomed. I can't believe he's as clean as he is. His first impression of the brush is, no thank you, but he's starting to get used to it. I mean, obviously it's a new thing. It'll take time. Once he's tamed down, I think he'll love the brushing as much as he loves when I scratch his face. For now, enjoy the side eye he's giving the camera. Even though he hasn't made any move to kick me, I'm being really, really careful when I'm near his back end, just because you never, ever know. He seems very, very aware that he's being touched, but not bothered, which is good. Then we're on to the other side. A little bit of a traffic jam as I'm trying to cross over, but as usual, he does not care. Of course, he's got to give me the sniff check now that I'm on the other side, but he doesn't seem bothered by the touch, which is cool. The last horse I bought, Goblin, was super sensitive to touch, even just brushing. So this guy is kind of a refreshing tame, even though he has a lot of work to do in different areas. Here, I'm making the bold choice of grabbing a mane brush and attempting to work out the wind knots that have been in there for multiple years, I'm sure. I'm really impressed with myself for trying to go with this without any product, but of course, it's below freezing, not going to happen. I should have given up by now. We're still trying to brush. Good for you, Liz. Okay, we're really still going for this. I'm kind of astonished. I think I would have maybe quit by now, but we're trying. Like, is enough not enough? It's pretty clear this is not going to work. Not today. Okay, good. I'm putting the brush back now. Now I'm going to try to pick out his feet. He's getting a little nosy, and that's the only time I actually get after him. I've been bitten that spot twice in the past 6 months, and it hurts like hell, and I have a scar from it. Even though he probably wasn't going for a hard bite, always better safe than sorry when it comes to flesh wounds. So I make it up to him, I apologize, and we're back to working on his feet. I'm just slowly getting him used to having me touch his legs and then start to ask for him to lift it. As you can see, does not like. I'm not going to ask for too much today, so as soon as he actually picks it up, I'm just going to give it back to him and move on. Now I'm going to adjust the buckle on his halter because now that I have it on properly, it's too small, I think. So I'm going to get that buckled, and after a very good first day of training, I'm going to let him go. Of course, now he chooses to make a fuss and dance around, but you know what? We're just going to go with it. He stands still, I pet him, and I unbuckle his halter. He's been a good boy, and I'm really, really happy to own this horse.